In Electrobim, we have the project options, and this is where you control all the various settings you have for Electrobim in your project. And there's a lot of options, and we will take a look at all of these. When you make these changes, you then have to figure out how to get these changes to other projects, because when you make a change to all of this, you're going to get this set up once. You want to have it all configured for how your company likes to work, and you don't want to have to make these changes in every project. There's really two ways you can handle that. One, you can open up your template file, run this command, the project options command in your template file, and make the changes there. And then that template will have the settings in it, and then all projects based upon that template will have your settings. The other option is to use the customization, export, and import commands. So you would find the project, you would get everything set up properly there. Then you can run the export command. When you run this, you have choices for what you are actually exporting and where you're exporting it to. So you give it a file location that you're going to export, and then choose what you want to export, the various option settings, and then also some wire sizing and transformer settings. And you can save that to a file. And then in future projects, you run the customization import command. So you take that file that you've exported it, and then you import it into other projects. So that's just two different ways you can do the template, or you can do the export import. One benefit to the export import is that you can then pull that into projects that have already started. Otherwise, if you use the template, you have to make sure to start with that template. And then once the project started, there's no way to update it. So the export import gets around that limitation with the templates. So if you have a template, you can set that up. There's probably a place for everyone to be using export import as well. Let's look at the wire callout options. These options talk about how the wire callouts that we use for feeders and branch circuits, how they are formatted. The first two control how we handle neutral wires. So display neutral wire count separately from phase wire count, and then conduit location, where that conduit shows up. So this just changes the format a little bit. So the default values are to do the neutral wire separate from a phase wire, and the conduit is at the front of the wire callout. So if we run our panel edit command and we take a look at our callout, you can see that it has the conduit at the front, and then it has the phase wire and the neutral wire separate. So that's our default. So we can change that to collapse the phase and the neutral wires together if they are the same, and also move that callout to the end. So we'll make that change. So we're going to display the neutral wire together with the phase wire. We're going to do the conduit at the end of the wire callout. Now, if we look at this wire callout here, you can see that the conduit size is at the end. So that's just a preference as to where you like that to be. You'll also notice that we have 4 number ones rather than 3 number ones and a number 1 neutral. Since those wires are all the same size, we put them together as a single wire size. When you are combining the neutrals with the phase wires, if you go with a double neutral, you'll then end up with 5 wires. So now we have 5 1-aught. It changed to 1-aught because we derated, because we have multiple, more current carrying conductors. And if we also change it to a different size wire, so if we change the neutral from double to something different from that number 1, say we want the neutral to be a 1-aught, but we want the phase wires to stay as number 1. Now it is going to separate them because we're calling them out as different sizes. So we have to separate them at that point. So we combine them if we can. If they are different, we are going to separate them. The other option in wire callouts is the home run wire callout, how we want that to be displayed. There are 3 options here. We can display all our wire callouts. We can hide the wire callouts for number 12 wire, and we can hide the wire callouts for number 12 wire on single pole circuits. And what this is doing is it's controlling a wire callout home run shared parameter. That is set on your circuits themselves. So if I go to our lighting plan and I select this device, and then I go take a look at the circuit has a number of shared parameters that Electrobim puts on it. And you can see that we have the wire callout for that circuit. We have a compact wire callout, which removes the spaces. And then we also have this wire callout HR. And so this is the wire callout that we're intending that you could put on your home runs, that this option is going to control. Because a lot of times you don't want to display the wire callout for every single home run in your project. you've got a lot of home runs that are number 12s. And so a lot of times people just leave those off. And the assumption is if it's not labeled, it must be number 12 wire. So that's what this option is allowing you to do. Since this is a number 12 wire, we're not going to show the home run call out. So it's going to be blank. So you could use this as a parameter for a tag for the home run, and then it's going to be blank. The other options for that are we can show it, only hide it for single pole circuits. So for a lighting circuit like this, a single pole, it's not going to show up. If it was a 3-pole circuit, if it was an equipment connection that was number 12 wire, we would still show 3 number 12 in that case. So that's the difference between these two. And then the top one here, display wire call out, we're just going to show the wire call out on all our home runs. It essentially becomes the same thing as the wire call out at that point. So there's no difference between the HR and the other one. Now, so that gives you control over your wire callouts for your home runs if you don't want to show it for number 12 wire.